Of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand or 10,000 Kenyan shillings or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.
Finding the right real estate professional can be challenging. I'm broker Melissa Wilson. I'm knowledgeable in all aspects of the real estate process. So whether you're looking to buy new or an existing home or have a commercial need, I'm here to help.
Make sure you pick up my two books that's in Amazon right now. The first one is Passive Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy. And I talk about in that particular book how the system of white supremacy really runs and on our daily lives here in America. In our latest book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, we go through those steps to try to deprogram you from the system of white supremacy. Make sure you can pick up those books on Amazon.com.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are streaming live this Saturday afternoon. Now, normally I don't stream on a Saturday afternoon, but last night I did not stream. I did not stream because I totally forgot I had to go to a Black Book Houston event, and it was, around the same time that we would be streaming normally. So I was glad I went. I talked to a lot of brothers and sisters that's doing good things right here in Houston, all business owners, and it's just great to see, Black people moving and shaking like that, and just hearing the different things that they're doing. Because sometimes they'll try to make you think that all of us is Black people, period. And then there's some Nigerian brothers there as well. And shout out to the Nigerian brothers I met, and they doing good things as well. They make you think that we not out here, moving and shaking as a people, but we really are. And I will tell you about Houston. You will see a lot of successful Black people in Houston. And I see plenty of them, so that's why I just can't accept that all our people are downtrodden. That's not true. But one thing that hit me last night while I was there, I've been kind of having conversations with Kellen a little bit about, I say, hey, I gotta move around. I said, because not enough people know about our platform, and it's because, I'm not moving around as much. Me sitting in this chair where I'm at right now, even though some people know us and it's great, but sometimes you got to go to different events. You got to go to different places, maybe do events, right? and get the people to come out that maybe, you know, say, hey, you know, because people can form an opinion of you when you're in this chair, but sometimes when they meet you, you know, it turns into something different for some people, right? I met a few people that I would have never met if I wouldn't have went to this event, right? So that's what I like about doing different events, because we got to grow this platform. Because when I saw the reaction of when I was talking about the platform itself, and I'm like, you know what? A lot of people just don't know. You know, they really don't. And so this is what I want to do. This is something that's on my mind to do for next year in 2025. I want to go to different cities, cities that we know here, and I'm glad YouTube does this now in their analytics. They let us know what cities is actually watching us, and that's beautiful, because it would make sense to go to those cities that's actually watching us and, you know, do events in those cities, right? So like, for instance, the top city that watches us the most is New York City, top city. The second top city that watches us the most is Chicago. Interesting, New York and Chicago. And I can go through all the cities. You know, of course, you know, Houston and Dallas watch. Atlanta, that's like the third city that watches, Atlanta. And I always get love in Atlanta. You know, every time I mean, we did an event in 2018 in Atlanta, and that event we had a lot of people at that event, and that event was great. When we did that in 2018 in Atlanta. You know, we did one in Houston also in 2018, but it's time to crank that back up to go to different cities. And even the number one African city that watch us is actually Nairobi, Kenya. And, you know, we've been to Kenya, you know, a couple of times. So shout out to Nairobi, Kenya. We definitely got to do an event there. So we want to do that, get outside a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, because we got to grow this thing. We can't grow it just sitting here in a chair. So, yeah, D.C., man, last time I was in D.C. when I did that interview with Rock Newman, man, I was just out there in the street. He was in the black community where he has a studio at. And man, I had black people just coming up to me, you know, and it threw me off, because they say, Phil, what you doing in D.C.? You know, so I had people coming up to me and I was talking to them, and then the white people were like, who are you? You know, why everybody coming up to you? I say, I got a show. It's not really that big of a deal. They say, oh, okay. You know, so everybody was talking to me or whatever. I know when I'm in the Atlanta airport, that's why I don't go to Airport Road no more, because when I go to the airports, especially that Atlanta one, somebody call my name out. Somebody, right? Today I was wearing one of my other hats. I was working at my wife's cake shop today. I was behind the counter today. Me and my little girl was behind the counter today. Seen about 2 or 3 people that came in and got them some good cupcakes and all of that today. And I was behind the counter. So you know, hey, you may see me behind the counter sometime. I wear different hats, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, it's beautiful when I run into the people. Beyond which, it's beautiful. It's always been love. Everybody been kind. I mean, one time it was a couple of TSA, but one of the brothers that worked in customs. You know, when I got back one time from South Africa, I was in the line, and the brother looked. He said, "Hey, that's you, Phil?" I'm like, "Hey, brother, how you doing?" He's like, "Phil, you ain't waiting. Come over here, man. I got you." I'm like, hey, all right. I'm like, cool, you know. So one time when I was flying to South Africa, one of the sisters that work with Delta, she said, Phil, you on this plane going to Johannesburg? I'm like, yeah. You say this is my whole family right here. Say, oh, that's your family? So I say, it's my wife, this is my kids. He said, look, whatever you need, I got you. Look, matter of fact, she said, later she came back and she said, look, I'm gonna give you the same stuff they getting in first class. Don't even worry about it, right? I'm like, okay, you know, because I was with my whole family. I couldn't pay for that first class, man. Delta One is expensive, but hey, sis was cool, you know. So yeah. It's man, black people. I always tell people this: black people are beautiful people. I'm not saying other groups of people aren't beautiful as well, but I'm saying black people are beautiful people. They're kind. They always want to help. They always want to assist. You know, I know we got our problems with black people, but I wouldn't trade black people and even Africans as well, because the Africans have been so kind to me and done so much for me without even asking. They even asking me to pay them. Like, you know, they've done so much things for me while I was there. I'm like, man, I got to give you something. No, I got to give you something, bro. I say, because, bro, you being too nice to me and my people, you know. So, don't look down on our people, because the media make you think our people is horrible. You know what I'm saying? Even people in the quote unquote hood, they good people, bro. They not everybody out there shooting up the block or doing bad things, even in the quote unquote hood. So, you know, because sometimes we get a negative view of black people, but when you actually get out there in the street and talk with black people and seeing how they feel and where they at, bro, they just trying to live like everybody else, man. That's just, you know, straight up. So I just want to give y'all that encouragement about black people, because if you listen to this media, they'll make you hate your own people. And Malcolm X talked about that, about making us hate our own, you know, and why? Because most black people aren't evil people. They're not. And even you talk about Pookie and Ray Ray, most of Pookie and Ray Ray's crimes are crimes of finance, right? It's linked to money. If you give Pookie and Ray Ray an opportunity where they can get off the block and actually make some money, they will put down their guns, they will put down the drug, they'll put down all of that, because they rather make legal money and not have to look over their shoulder when they deal in or whatever the case may be. If you even think about black crime, once black people get to the middle class and up, our crime is literally non-existent. It's only when it's a poverty issue when you see a whole lot of crime, or when our brothers get out of jail, now they're a felon and now they can't rent an apartment, can't get certain jobs. When you put these brothers back in a position where they have to go back out there on the block and do some things they shouldn't be doing when they actually want to get out of jail and actually turn their life around, right? So I was talking to somebody last night. They'll say, oh, well, Trump's a felon and this and that and the third. You know, I ain't want to get in politics. Usually if people want to talk politics, I stay away from it, because, I mean, I get into it with you, but I say, now, you sure when you talk about politics? So I told that one sister, because she was talking about Project 2025. I said, oh, boy, here we go. And so I already knew what she was on. And I said, you do know Project 2025 is written by the Heritage Foundation, correct? And she like, yeah, I heard, because she was fear-mongering. And I said, yeah. I said, well, other people say, really? I said, yeah. I said, that was written by the Heritage Foundation. It's a conservative think tank that's been around since the early 1970s. So they write that stuff every year, like a wish list of policies they want to try to get implemented. I said, they're going to do it in 2026 and 2027 and everything else, right? That's what they're going to do. I say, but Agenda 47, I read that, and that's what I'm going to go on if I'm going to focus on him. But I said, you know, on the felon thing, because they were saying Trump was a felon. I say, well, if Trump get in office, maybe we should push Trump to remove those barriers off of felons. Since he's a felon now, maybe he could be the one to remove like with brothers, you know, that are felons can rent apartments, can get certain jobs, can vote, can get their gun rights back. Well, if he's a felon, why not push that on Trump if he becomes the president? I think that would be a great thing to do, since he's a felon, right? So yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're gonna get into tonight what we're talking about. Corey Jackson, and also Los Angeles definitely is one of the cities that watch us. Definitely, that's also high up on the list. And shout out to all my black people in California. So this is definitely gonna be directed at you, because you could actually do something about what we're about to talk about tonight. Corey Jackson. So, real quick, let's go to real quick. Where are we gonna go? Let's go to Eric Mays, and then we're gonna get into it about Corey Jackson here. So let's go.
I'm just telling you, I'm gonna let you talk.
Who you talking to? You gonna let the voters let me? I got voted in. Who you talking to? You gonna let me? I got seconds left.
I want you to know.
Ain't she crazy? How many seconds? I'm counting your time. Miss Galloway, I'm gonna rule you out order. You keep talking so much.
Do I have the floor? Do I?
Yes, you do.
Thank you very much.
What a fool.
We have got to help the city of Flint. We have got to move the city forward. We have got to vote yes on this. Thank you.
Ms. Herkenroder, you the reason that I'm going to vote the way I'm going to vote, because you tried to put words in my mouth like I said you was a racist. You got to stop doing that. You've got to stop doing that.
Ms. Fields, please be very careful in that area. Please.
All I said there was mediation and there were people in rooms.
You
That's
told details of who in what room and how many.
But I am going to finish saying this.
Oh, go ahead.
That's fine. fine. Do you?
It shouldn't be fine. We got folks sitting in business, and I wouldn't care if you was the chair, the sofa, the TV. So you might want a dialogue.
I don't give a...
You don't give a what?
That's what he's trying to do.
So you dialoguing?
There's no dialogue.
It is some dialogue. You gave me some
point
dialogue.
of order. Councilwoman Worthy, what is your point of order? No, I'm not.
You ain't?
I'm not.
You must.
This is a joke.
Stop this abuse.
I'm going to
It
give you
is
a
abuse.
point of order. Personal tax is out of order. Now, you want to make a personal attack on me, I'm going to tell you something. I'm tired of Ms. Fields calling me racist. I'm tired of you calling me personal names as it relates to women. I'm tired of it. It's wrong, you're out of order, but you keep doing it. Because when I start blasting your butt, like I'm doing, everybody already know it's coming from y'all. But don't get beside yourself, Mr. Chairman. If he gonna holler tell me to shut up, you better give him his warning.
I gave you yours.
Give him his. If you gonna discriminate, you gonna let the white man running for mayor holler across and tell this black man to shut up.
I don't want to hear
So when he get loud, I'm going to get louder. When they go low, I go lower.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was the great and late Eric Mays. He's dearly departed, and that's the kind of politicians we need in the black community, whether it's here in America and also in the Caribbean and the African continent too, because them politicians be doing the same stupid crap in those countries as well. Now, make sure, as we always know, go to vote.gov, get registered to vote, ladies and gentlemen, so your voice can be heard in this election. There's no reason to complain if we're not going to go out there and strategically vote to make our voice heard. As the great Julius Malema said, there's no reason you cannot be in the EFF if you're not registered to vote. And I agree with Julius Malema. If you can't really be in Black America, if you're not registered to vote, you should be able to do something. How you gonna make a move politically, whether it's our local election, state election, or federal election, if you're not even registered to vote and move the polls? Now, you have to understand, Kellen did share with me a study. It says the more money people make, the more they vote. I didn't realize that. And they said the less people make, the less people vote. So what is it these rich people, or even people who are making six-figure salaries, what do they realize about voting that poor people don't realize about voting, right? You got to be in control or know who's in control of all your local politics. But you got to participate. You got to participate, because whether you vote or not, somebody's going to vote and put somebody in there. All right. Our people fought for that. And so make sure we can use our actual votes to control something. So with that being said, let's talk about Assemblyman in Class in succession. Let's talk about Assemblyman Corey Jackson from the California Legislative Black Caucus. Now, we know in California, ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats sabotaged the reparation bill. We know that Gavin Newsom, during the time of his recall, put up a reparations commission. Black folks got excited about that. So he put together a reparations commission. You know, our sister Camila Moore was the chair of the reparations commission. And the reparations commission had a lot of meetings. They did their due diligence and did their work. They came with recommendations to give to the assembly to say, hey, this is what reparations should look like based off of the commission that Governor Newsom signed into action to get it done. Okay, they did their commission, they did their study. Then when it was time to start implementing what came out of the study, the great study that Democrats say that we should get, okay, the study was done. They sabotaged the reparations bill in the assembly. Then when a Republican assemblyman in California tried to bring up the reparations bill, understand, it was Democrats that stopped him and sabotaged him, a Republican, from bringing up the reparations bill. As we know, the Republican did not support reparations, but he really wanted to see what Democrats was going to do. He pulled the Democrats' card, and that was the best chess move that Republicans could have ever pulled on the Democrats, to expose their hand so they couldn't say it was those mean old Republicans. They so racist, they don't want you to have nothing. See, that one Republican showed in California the reason why black Americans don't have anything is because of the Democrats, not because of those mean old Republicans. You understand what I'm saying? And the California Legislative Black Caucus went along with the sabotage because Gavin Newsom didn't even want that bill on his desk because he would have to veto it. And he knew if he had to veto that bill, it's going to hurt him politically because he wants to run for president one day. Okay? He wants to run for president. So he didn't want to veto that bill. That's not nothing he wanted to do. So he put it on the bootlicks to get rid of the bill. All right. Now, there was another bill put up, and Assemblyman Corey Jackson on his X account, we're going to go right to it, and let's see what he had to say about that. Let me switch my screen here. Boom. Oh, no, wrong screen. Right screen. All right. So let's get it up here, and let's see what he said here on X. All right, if you can see this, this is Assemblyman Corey Jackson's X account. I'm reading it as such. History in the making. CA governor has signed the California Legislative Black Caucus reparations package into law. A major step toward righting past wrongs and ensuring black Californians get the equity they deserve. He used equity. He didn't say cash. This is just the beginning. Now, they said first in nation reparations bill package signed by governor. Okay. So they talking about all the bills that was put up by the people in the California Legislative Black Caucus. All right. So Bonta, she looked like the Puerto Rican lady, early child care and education, California State preschool program. Weber, discrimination, race, hairstyles, like a Crown Act. Weber again, pupil discipline, transfer reporting. Bryan, state prisons ban books. So I guess they want certain brand. Now, this is the one we want to focus on. Joan Sawyer. That was the guy that was mocking black people. If you remember that video, that was mocking black people. And he was, that guy right there. Chattel slavery, formal apology. Not what the Reparations Commission came up with, just a formal apology. And Gavin Newsom had no problem signing a formal apology. But he did not want to create basically a Freedmen's Bureau. He didn't want to create that. But he was cool with greatly signing a bill with a formal apology, which does nothing for black Americans in America. It does not a thing. And this is what Assembly member Corey Jackson is out here celebrating, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you are a black American person in the state of California, you should be very upset. You should be outraged, and you should demand, with your vote as well, that Corey Jackson get out of town. You should demand that whoever is running against any of the members of the California Legislative Black Caucus, that they got to go. Y'all should be the first in line on early voting to vote against them. And all of them represent blue. So vote against blue in California, no matter who, black people, especially if you see those bootlicks on the ballot. It don't matter who it is. It don't matter if it's a Republican, Green Party, Libertarian, whatever party it is. Choose one, right? Not telling you who to vote for, but this situation, if y'all in California don't make this right, this is utter disrespect. Let me tell you something. Y'all have been the state of migrants way before the quote unquote migrant crisis. California has been given resources upon resources upon resources to the migrants, while our black people in California have been priced out of places to stay. Black people in California, unless they own their own businesses, have a hard time getting a job. Then if you own a business, you're worrying about the permit issues and all that mess that happens to Black Americans in California. A lot of Black Americans had to leave the state that they grew up in, or their family been in this state for many, many years. Maybe some of them came because of the great, migration, right, out the South. And they've been in California, their family maybe, 60, 70 years. And now they're having to leave California because they're being priced out. But it's interesting that all the migrants aren't being priced out. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that the migrants have not been priced out of California? Have you noticed? But you're being priced out. Have you noticed that the migrants aren't on Skid Row like that? Have you noticed the migrants aren't homeless like that? Ladies and gentlemen, have you noticed that? Why is that? Why is it that the majority population of the homeless is Black Americans? Well, it's done by design. The only place they guarantee you a place to stay is prison. Oh, they got a place for you there in California. Oh, they'll love to give you a prison cell. And now, since they can criminalize homelessness, oh, they're going to clean the streets up, all right. They're going to give all those homeless people a place to stay in prison. In prison, being a slave underneath the same 13th Amendment that say we are free. There's a loophole in the 13th Amendment that says we still can put you back in slavery, but in prison. And I don't know why our people have not demanded a constitutional amendment to remove the slavery clause out of the 13th Amendment. I mean, seriously, if we would fight to get that amendment removed out of the Constitution, that slavery clause where it says you can be enslaved in prison, why do you think more Black men, especially Black men, are put in prison? Because of the slavery clause. If you are in jail, you are relegated back to slavery. This is why they don't have to pay you like they have to pay everybody else minimum wage. See, the 13th Amendment only stopped private slavery. It transferred private slavery to the state being a slaveholder or the federal government being a slaveholder. This is why they can demand you work and don't pay you nothing. And if you don't work, they hold it against you and do all kind of things to you, right? And then when you come up for parole, you can't get parole because you refuse to work. You understand? You refuse to work. You got brothers in prison working for major corporations. Your Walmart, your Target, your Costco, all these corporations benefit off of prison labor, slave labor. But when the same Black men get out of prison, they can't even get a doggone job in the same companies and then I just saw, I think, was it Alabama? They have basically like a convict leasing, basically, where they take prisoners who do good and they let them go work in places like IHOP and whatever, and they having to work 7 days a week. They can't say they sick. They can't do. It's literally convict leasing. Literally. These people have not changed at all. It ain't changed. So in California, they're doing our people wrong, and that's why a lot of our people are starting to come back home because, listen, the South is home. The South is home for the majority of Black America. You do want to talk about where our people built America from? They built America from the South. So when you come back home to the South, you're only coming back to where your people at. Because if you look at the history of the United States and even look at the majority of Black Americans, we're still in our home area of the South, right? But you have people like Assemblyman Corey Jackson and all those other ones. You have to understand they're sold out. They chose to sell out. Now, because a lot of them understand in this current Democrat Party, and maybe it's probably always been this way in the Democrat Party for Black politicians, if they rah-rah too much for Black people, they can maybe get removed from office or they may get some charges. Like Eric Adams, right? Now, Eric Adams wasn't rah-rahing for Black people, but he was speaking against their agenda with the migrant crisis. But let's go back to the migrant crisis. We talked about a little earlier that the migrants aren't leaving California in that high dollar California. The migrants are affording that very well. And you're saying, wait a minute, how are these people affording that? Because they are transferring money and wealth to the migrants where they can afford to stay in California. It's just bottom line. Now, some of the migrants may stay a couple of families to a home, right? But they all pooling their money together and they are staying in California. There's so many of them in California now that they have outpopulated black people. And black people, what they have reported to me is that they are racist toward black Americans. You have some of their gangs are running around here committing hate crimes, and yet we don't hear nothing from the DOJ talking about, now let me go there, the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Act. We're not hearing nothing about that since we have a hate crime bill, right? Why aren't the DOJ prosecuting all these gangs that's ran by these migrants that's spray painting NK on different places? And you know what? When I say NK, I'm talking about the N word and killer. That's what they spraying. They're saying that's what the words they're spraying, right? And the California government has no problem with those kind of hate crimes. Now let a black American go spray anything about migrants. Let a black American go spray anything about LGBT or any group. It don't matter who it is. These black Americans will be rounded up at minimum on state charges and at maximum on federal hate crime charges. You understand? Yes, California do have the most migrants who come here illegally in that they just flood that state. And you see, especially Los Angeles, California, you see what happened to black communities. Thriving black communities, black, South Central and all the different places black people have been forever. Compton. Now these places aren't the same anymore. Maybe that black people still kind of holding Lamert Park and certain areas like that. But how long will they hold that when they're flooding the country with people would have different cultures, flooding the country with people that come from some places very savage. I mean, if you do the research on what some cartels do in their country, they deal with some savagery in some of these Latin American countries. And it's mostly Latin American countries they flood in California with, to be honest with you. If you look at the population, there's more people from Latin America in California than black folks, white folks. You know what I'm saying? And that's done by, it wasn't natural. It was done completely through immigration. That's why if anybody should be preaching about this migrant issue, it should be black people from Los Angeles, California. It should be them. And what also has happened, they have teamed up, all these migrants, and it's not just from Latin America, they come from Asia too. That's the top two from what I know and what I hear. They have teamed up to be against black people. If it wouldn't been for black Americans, they wouldn't have a chance to be here because they have to understand the history of America. They didn't want nobody here unless you was from Europe. If you wasn't European, they didn't want your behind here. Because of the work of black Americans, people come in here and be disrespectful to black Americans. This is why you have black Americans delineating. See, people think delineation has to do with within the diaspora. No. Delineation has to do with everybody, every group. Because if you do the research, black Americans have helped every group. Every single group black Americans has stood up for. And then when these people get on their feet and they start making money, they get in politics. Do they say, hey, we got to remember it wasn't meant for black Americans helping my parents. We wouldn't be where we are today. Let me make sure I look out for black Americans. Oh no. They look at you the same way. And I'm going to say, I'm not saying all. Let me make sure I don't put out a message where I'm saying all, because I'm not saying all, but I want to talk about those who are doing it. Gotta be responsible. But the ones who are doing it, right? Black people are now saying, okay, I'm not standing up for none of y'all no more. It don't matter where you come from. We only gonna worry about our group. And black people are right to say that because black people tried their best to be righteous, to be loving to all people, right? Because we don't like to see people suffer. We don't even like that. Now, D says they even made a driver's license law to specifically allow them a license, AB 60. Okay. And they say this license so they can vote them to get all the freebies. Yeah, I believe that. I believe it. This is why you probably should be. Now, this is why I go to policy, right? If you know this, then you should be probably supporting the Republican Party on stopping them from voting. I would say that much because I'm a policy person. The Democrats not going to do that, but the Republicans will. The Green Party isn't doing it or any other party. But yeah, I mean, because that's going to hurt black Americans, allowing them to vote. They're not even citizens. We had to go through hell to even get the to even get the right to vote. We had to go through hell in this country. And how dare somebody can just come over here and just vote and you didn't have to suffer the Klan. You didn't have to suffer the crooked police. You didn't have to suffer water hoses. You didn't have to suffer dogs. You didn't go through no poll tax like we went through. You didn't have to go through no literacy set test. You didn't have to try to count no marbles in a jar. None of the things that we went through to try to stop us from voting. You can just waltz yourself over here from your homeland that you chose to come here from, and then you can vote and you didn't have to suffer for nothing. Black Americans should be, number one, appalled, offended when they tell you your ancestors died for the right for you to vote. Correct. They did die for us to have some freedoms. But nobody else had to die. Nobody else had to suffer. So for the sake of my ancestors, I am against anyone coming over here and who's not a United States citizen trying to vote in our elections. I'm against that because my ancestors never had that right and they fought to get it. They fought to get it. And I cannot vote for a party that says they could come over here and just trying to figure out ways for them to vote. They shouldn't even be having a driver's license over here. You better give them a bike. They better call an Uber. Now, Mike C says, so bad in Southern California, the folks are leaving. Yeah. You talking the folks? Yeah. Listen, the folks been complaining. Oh, man, the folks listen, the folks trying to hold on to Orange County and all of that, right? Well, that's more so Republican. But, yeah, the folks don't like that. Man, the folks are sick of that. I see a lot of the folks in California talking about they voting Republican. They getting tired. They are getting tired of the Democrat Party or what's happening to the folks in California. Let me tell y'all something. I said this on my podcast the other day, and I'm going to repeat this here. And some of y'all may not agree with what I'm about to say, but even though we have our history and we have our issues, but I'm going to tell you, black Americans and white Americans have way more in common with a whole lot of issues right now than we ever had, because all these different groups coming in here with all these different opposing cultures. Because think about it, white Americans and black Americans, we kind of have the same American culture. We're not talking about particular culture in those particular groups, no. But you know what I'm talking about. We have a particular culture that we kind of, we all kind of think about the same by Thanksgiving. We think the same by Christmas. Labor Day, the Halloween thing. If you celebrate it now, I'm not talking about you super spiritual people that talk about the Devil's Day and all that. I already know, do you? But you know what I'm saying? The spring break thing we do and all different things, mostly black and white people kind of do those sort of things. But all these other people are coming in with opposing cultures. And when you bring people in with this is a culture thing I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a color thing. I'm talking about a culture thing. You're bringing people with all these different cultures into America that oppose more so the main culture that's in this America that has been established by black Americans and white Americans, right? Think about it. You can have a conversation right now what's going on in this country, and white Americans probably be agreeing with you probably more so now than what they have been in the past. Believe it or not. Because I've had some conversations with white Americans, and they agree a lot with a lot of us are saying as black Americans, right? You're seeing all these people come in from their different countries. Certain things is not a big deal to them like it is to us. Certain levels of violence and savagery we haven't really seen. Yeah, we got our savagery of the school shootings, but we don't really have no savagery of somebody getting their body chopped up because they owe a drug debt. That's not nothing we really see. Now over here, somebody just get shot up here, but they don't do things like chop somebody up and dump their body with a wheelbarrow on the family's front lawn. This is stuff that go on in their countries. When you messing around with them cartels, that's stuff they used to seeing. We're not used to that. So you got people coming over here and some people that came over here were participating in that too. And the Biden-Harris administration just let these people come in, no checks and balances. And now they're bringing their gangs over here. Whole gang members starting gangs over here, which is a threat to black Americans and white Americans. It is a complete threat. Think about it. In New York, let's go back to Eric Adams. These people was not grateful to the people of New York. They were complaining in a shelter. They chose to come over here. They passed up so many Latin American countries who don't have no gang problems or whatever, right? They passed all them Latin American countries up who speak the language, everything, to come over here because they can get freebies. Okay. Then they get over here and they're throwing the food away, talking about, I don't want that because that's not my cultural food. I couldn't have been Eric Adams. Because the first thing I'll say is, well, you know what? I know where your cultural food is at. I know exactly where it's at. And you know what? I'll put you on a plane tonight to go back to where you come from to get your cultural food. I pay for you to go back. And you can get all the cultural food you want. Go cook it. Matter of fact, yeah, just go cook it over there. Since you don't like with the food we serving in America, I'll gladly fly you back where you come from. As long as you get on out of here. The nerve. You don't like. So that's what started the debit card thing. And Eric Adams messed up. Eric Adams, you messed up and then you ran out of money. And that's when got you complaining on Biden. And now look where you're at now, right? You should have never gave them no cards. If they come to New York, they eat what's in the shelter. And if they don't like it, too bad. Get you a job, go buy your own. You talking about he said, although, no. That's funny. That's funny what Kellen's saying. I know why you said that. No, it's just black Americans and white Americans have been in this country the longest. So we have kind of the same issues. But yes, white Americans are complaining because it is affecting them. You're 100% right. It's affecting them. 100%. And if you look in a state like Texas, right? I live in Texas. We have forever talked about people flooding our state. And I'm glad we got people like Greg Abbott here who just won't let them just run crazy in this state. That's why Greg Abbott keeps getting elected, because we had the election in Texas with Beto O'Rourke, and he was pro-open borders. And Greg Abbott was like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. He's not here. So why you think Beto O'Rourke lost the election? Because he's pro-open borders. It's just that simple. Any candidate that running in Texas, if you're going to talk about you pro-open borders, you're not going to win. Mike says a lot of folks tell you privately Trump 2024. You know what, Mike? That's what happened in 2016. They were, the same thing. They were ridiculing people about Trump. And they're like, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. And I don't know. And then when election happened, election night, people were shocked when that man won the election. Now, people think that, oh, people like Republicans. It's not that people like Republicans, especially black people. It's not that black people like Republicans like that. It's the fact is immigration is a huge thing. The economy is a huge thing, and people are not willing to accept that. Immigration and the economy. And if you are a black man, immigration is a big issue for you because let's call it what it is. It's a bunch of foreign men coming in and trying to compete for jobs that you already had a hard time getting as a black man. And these foreign men are coming in, these military-aged men coming in, they're willing to work for less money. Now, I'm going to give a warning to these people on the ports right now. They're saying by October 1st, if they don't sign a new agreement with the union, that they're going to go on strike. I think it's about 43 to 45,000 people. I would hold off on striking. And the reason why I would hold off on striking right now, and you don't have to listen to me, but I'm telling you, there's so many migrant men in this country right now that y'all can go strike if you want to. They got enough migrant men to go take all y'all jobs today. Today. Y'all need to be careful with striking because they can flood those migrant men to all those jobs tomorrow. And then y'all really going to lose out. So you thinking these corporations is really going to let y'all hold up their money because you on strike? I promise you they're going to bust them in and go work those jobs for not what you getting paid. And they're not going to have no insurance or nothing else. I'm telling you, Biden and them got something for you. Go ahead and strike if you want to. Them migrant men going to be on them jobs. You say from New Jersey to Texas, they got a lot of migrants in New York right now. They can bust them all right there to get every last one of them jobs. You strike if you want to. Go ahead and strike. This is not the time to be demanding. Right now, in this economy, it's kind of hard to be demanding a certain amounts of money right now. I'm just saying. And with too many of these migrant men running around, they will bust them to them jobs tomorrow. You go ahead and strike if you want to. I'm not saying that because I'm defending corporations. I'm just saying I'm trying to defend y'all jobs. They hope y'all strike so they can bust in all those migrant men to go take every last one of them jobs y'all got. Who's to say they're not training them migrant men right now to do them jobs? And y'all go strike, you're going to see a bunch of buses show up with them migrant men and getting those jobs. I don't know why y'all think these folks playing with y'all. Well, you think we shouldn't get more money? Yeah, hey, if they can afford to give you more money, go ahead. But I'm just telling you, be careful on any of these jobs right now with all these migrant men and women that's here because they will gladly go take your job. And you won't get it back. That's the thing. If they bust the migrants in and all y'all getting fired, when they do that, we'll sue. Let me tell you something, they'll pay your lawsuit. They'll save more money in the long run paying y'all lawsuit than hiring them to do the job. So y'all union need to move real careful right now. Move real carefully. And that's going to be an issue in every job in America right now. You have a lot of migrant people. Look, have y'all noticed that in the fast food jobs, the few times I've been around those places, I really don't eat in those places, they're not looking like they used to look. I don't see hardly no black people in the fast food working no more. Not no more. It's I'm telling you, the more and more, y'all, and listen, I remember they had this one sister on TikTok saying, hey, they are taking the black jobs. I'm in Popeyes, look. And I started laughing when she said she was in Popeyes. But she said the Popeyes was the black jobs. But, a lot of black people did work in Popeyes. I do remember that. And they had no black people working when she showed on the video, right? So, the migrants going to take over. It's like I covered one video out of Chicago. This one sister said that the migrants are taking over the DoorDash and the Uber jobs. And she said she hardly ever see a black person delivering. Now, this is the thing. The migrants just got here. Yeah, they got cars. They got cars. But you need a credit score. You need a job history. You need all this stuff you need, right? A down payment. You need all this stuff to go get a car. But the migrants come right on in and man, they pulling up with cars to do DoorDash because the Democrats are papering them up. But in California, you get a formal apology. They get paper, you get an apology. See, the Democrats and how they move based off of just what they do. And this has nothing to do with one particular candidate. We talking about the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party, it doesn't matter if it's Gavin Newsom. It doesn't matter if it's Brandon Johnson. It don't matter if it's Eric Adams. It don't matter if it's Vice President Kamala Harris. It don't matter who it is. The party is against Black Americans receiving our just due. Okay? That's really what it is. They getting houses. You're 100% right. They're getting houses. And you not getting a house. But the migrants are getting houses. That's really what it is. But this is your Democrat Party. This is the party that's supposed to be our friends, ladies and gentlemen. This is the party that says we can't win elections without the Black community, but yet we don't want to give the Black community anything. Remember, the migrants don't go out to vote. Technically, they can't vote. So they lean on you to win elections, and they take your vote and give the results of your votes to migrants who don't vote, who didn't fight for this country, who's not paying all these taxes. They're not mass incarcerated. Listen, all that criminal behavior migrants are doing, they're not even being mass incarcerated. You are for jaywalking. Migrants can attack cops in this country. Their gangs to say they got a green light on police officers in this country. If any Black gang said they had a green light on any police officer, police department, the FBI would have rounded up every last one of them already. They'd have put them all in jail. They'd have put their baby mama in jail if she was texting them about it. They'd put their mammy in jail. They'd put their grandmama in jail if she was even having a conversation talking about conspiracy, right? But these migrants could come over here talking about a green light on police officers. Where's all the raids of them being mass incarcerated in the jail? Where's all the migrants being put in San Quentin? Where they at? Oh, you say it's out there like that in New York City. All the migrants got the fast food job. There you go. There you go. Right there. The migrants got it. They got it. But that's your Democrat Party for you. The Democrat Party has an agenda to accelerate migrants in this country. Trust me, this came from the top. They say, hey, get them in here because for whatever reason they want them here, but they're flooding them in. And do you know there was a news story just come out that Joe Biden is fast tracking U.S. citizenship applications in a way they've never seen before. So he's trying to, and I told y'all they was going to do this. They're trying to make everybody legal quick as possible before they get out. They're fast tracking. So now they'll be able to vote in the election because they'll be a citizen at that point. You see what I'm talking about? And if Vice President Kamala Harris get in office, she's going to continue that agenda because she don't really think about too many things on her own. So the power players in the Democrat Party behind the scenes, that's not her, right? Because it's not really her if you do put her in office. Just like it wasn't really Joe Biden. It's those Democrat power players that's doing all the decision making. So if you want another 4 years of this, well, you know who you're gonna vote for. And if people don't like I'm saying it, well, I ask them this question: what is the benefit to Black Americans? All these influx of migrants, especially to the Black man. What is the benefit to the Black man? A bunch of military-age males in this country trying to compete for jobs when we already have issues with unemployment as Black Americans? Well, what benefit do we get from that? There's no benefit. None. We get no benefits from that. So why are you telling us to support something that we get not a tangible, and I say tangible, we do not get a tangible benefit? It's not like these people come in here and they're allies to Black Americans and all of a sudden they're going to be on our team and now we got these big numbers of people because now they are allies. They're not our allies. Like the African sister said in the video I played, they mind says they come to take, and I wouldn't even put that on the African migrants like that or Caribbean migrants. I'm talking about all them others, because African migrants and Caribbean migrants aren't really getting prioritized like that. When you see these secret job fairs like we covered, we didn't see a bunch of African migrants. We didn't see a bunch of Caribbean migrants. They're not getting all of the benefits like that. Oh, look into it. It is not the African and Caribbean migrants that's getting all these benefits. Now, they talk about the Haitians in Springfield. Okay, fine. But what about all these other migrants that's been dumped in other communities too, like the Ukrainians? They've been dumped in a lot of communities too. The Venezuelans, they've been dumped in a lot of communities, but everything is the Haitians, right? You got to be fair on the criticism. Did I hear about the Zelensky wanting the U.S. to send U.S. soldiers to help fight? Zelensky can go to hell. He needs to go to hell. He's a criminal, because how is it that, and we've seen the videos on TikTok from Ukraine. They partying and living it up in Ukraine. They talking about they in war. This dude, listen, I really believe this Ukraine situation is a big money laundering scheme. And our politicians is money using our tax dollars to money launder. And they're going to collect, because how is it that he's always running around here, but he's so much in a war with Russia? It seems like Russia ain't fighting you that much. Because Putin got weapons to end Ukraine if he wants to. Oh, he do. Man, Putin got a lot of nuclear warheads. If he really want to end Ukraine as we know it, it will be done. It will be done tomorrow if Putin really wanted to do that. That's why, no, the reason why the U.S. troops would never go is because if U.S. troops go into that, then Putin is going to use his warheads. He already made that threat. Matter of fact, he recently said that if they give them long-range missiles and they shoot it into Russia, that he's going to escalate a nuclear response because of that. And he's crazy enough to do it. He's crazy enough. And if you do the research off of that, it's called Satan. They have a missile called Satan. And that can literally travel from Russia to New York within about 18 minutes? They can put one warhead on it or several warheads on this Satan missile that he has that can hit New York in 18 minutes. And they have nothing to do to stop it. So do you really want to mess with a guy that got something like that? I'm just saying. That's why NATO ain't really went at him like that, because he's ready. Y'all better be paying attention to geopolitics and what countries got nuclear weapons and what countries don't. And then I don't know why they be talking to that man crazy like that. Like, that man, he's ex-KGB. Man, that man. But y'all better study geopolitics. That's very important. Not just domestic issues, but you better pay attention throughout the world. And like, who do you want on the world stage? You can make your choice. Do you think Kamala Harris is going to really be a great representation of America on the world stage? Or do you think Trump would? That's the only thing. Do Trump have a track record of making these countries kind of bend to his will? Because Vice President Kamala Harris, when she was just asked a question, she says a friend in need is a friend indeed. So there you go. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the stream tonight, a special stream tonight, right? Because we couldn't do it last night. I know some people weren't expecting us to stream tonight, and that's fine. You'll catch it on the replay. Thank you for joining us tonight. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you click the subscribe button. That's very important. And make sure you click the like button. That's also very important. And also download our African Diaspora News Channel app, as we said earlier, in the Google Play and Apple App Store. Once you hit create account, you can do monthly, quarterly, or yearly. We greatly appreciate all the support. Like I said, we really need your support, especially in these trying times. So, $9.99 a month, I feel is a decent price, just right at almost $10 a month to help us continue doing what we're doing on the app. And also it bleeds over to